Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. It is finally time for schedule previews. This is one of my favorite things to do during the offseason, to take a look at the slate that's upcoming for some of the top teams in the entire country. And today, guys, we are kicking off our schedule preview slate with the Ole Miss Rebels, who come in at number 24 in our way too early top 25. Now, we're starting at number 24 and not number 25 because UTSA, who was 25th in our rankings, doesn't have their full schedule released yet. And that'll be the case for a handful of teams over these upcoming weeks. So as we get those schedules finalized, we'll come out with those schedule previews. Might have to skip around a little bit. So today we kick things off with the Rebels, who were 8-5 last year, and that's not a bad mark until you realize how Ole Miss started. Ole Miss, guys, they started the year at 7-0. Many thought they were going to be a college football playoff contender, but then they went 1-5 down the stretch, including a 42-25 loss to Texas Tech in the Texas Bowl. So the schedule last year lined up great for Ole Miss to start strong. They were unable to finish strong because the majority of their more difficult games were on the back end of their schedule. We're going to take a look at their schedule in a second for 2023. It's drastically different. But take a look at this team, guys. Their quarterback room is loaded. They've got Jackson Dart, the starter from last year. They've got Spencer Sanders transferring in from Oklahoma State. And they've got Walker Howard transferring in from LSU. This might be one of the best quarterback rooms in the country, paired with one of the best offensive minds in the country in Lane Kiffin. One of those guys could transfer out, of course, in the following months. But regardless, Ole Miss has a lot of depth and a lot of talent at the most important position on the field. They've got Quinshon Judkins back at running back, one of the best running backs, not just in the SEC, but in the country. 6 projected starters coming back on defense. Ole Miss has the talent to compete again in the SEC. But take a look at their schedule. They open up with a game against Mercer, and that's not a big deal. But then right off the bat, week 2, they go to Tulane. A Tulane team that won, 12 games this last year, won the Cotton Bowl over USC, finished in the top 10, going on the road to a Tulane team that returns their star quarterback in Michael Pratt and a handful of key starters from that team that helped them win the American and the Cotton Bowl. So this is a Tulane team, guys, that on the road is going to be anxious to get another win over a Power 5 opponent, one that definitely could be nationally ranked, and the Green Wave could be nationally ranked as well. So an underrated week 2 game down in the New Orleans area. Ole Miss going to really see what they're made of in week 2. Georgia Tech, not too concerned about that, 42-0. Ole Miss beat them last year. It's the next 3 games, and when you do this with all our schedule previews, we always say, what is a 3 to 4 game stretch that will define the season? That next 3 game stretch will define the season between September 23rd and October 7th, when the Rebels play Alabama on the road, LSU, and Arkansas. Those 3 games will determine how great this season can be for Ole Miss. Again, last year, they started 7-0. The front half of their schedule, very, very favorable. A lot of cupcake teams, easy Georgia Tech team, had Vanderbilt in there. It wasn't tough for Ole Miss. The back half had Alabama, LSU, Arkansas. Ole Miss lost to all 3 of those teams. They lost to the Crimson Tide by 6 in Oxford. They got killed by LSU in Death Valley, 45-20, and got killed by Arkansas, 42-27 in Fayetteville. At one point, that game was 42-6. So that is a 3-game stretch there where Ole Miss has to do well. If they start 3-0, most think that they will, that 3-game stretch will determine whether or not the Rebels can really contend in the SEC West, or if there's going to be middle of the pack again. You've got the Crimson Tide, who are elite as always, LSU, the reigning champions of the SEC West, and then Arkansas and Ole Miss always seem to have great matchups and have been for about the last decade. So that is the 3 key game stretch for Ole Miss: Alabama, LSU, Arkansas. They get their bye week right in the middle of the season, right at the halfway point after 6 games. And the back half of their schedule really isn't terrible. It's kind of interesting to see how opposite it was of last year. Front half, very easy. Back half, tough. This year, I'd say the front half a little bit tougher with those 3 games we mentioned plus Tulane. The back half, not terrible. They draw Vanderbilt. They draw ULM. Most people project both of those to be a win. They get A&M at home, an A&M team that missed out on a bowl game last year. Wasn't all that great. How will they fare now with a new offensive coordinator by Petrino? A lot of new pieces there. Obviously, that drawing Georgia out of the SEC East is not ideal. The cross division, Vanderbilt, okay. Georgia, not great. And that game in Athens is going to be a very, very difficult game there against the reigning national champions. And then they have a road game at Auburn, who they beat by 14 last year. And we don't really know what to expect from Auburn this year with a new coach in Hugh Freeze and so many key new pieces. And then the Egg Bowl, of course, on Thanksgiving at Mississippi State. The Rebels lost that game 24-22 last year. So you look at the back half of the schedule, most would project a win against Vanderbilt. Most would project a win against ULM. And you could probably see a win against A&M as well, possibly in Oxford. We're not here to predict. We'll come out with predictions here in a few months. Don't you worry. All summer long, it's prediction season here at the Gridiron Expert. But you look at those games, about 3 home games there probably are very winnable for Ole Miss. The road game at Auburn, I'd give them about a 60-70% chance to win as of now. And then the road game at Georgia and at Mississippi State are going to be very, very tough. Georgia, not many people project to win there. So again, Ole Miss went 8-4 in the regular season last year. 8-5 if you count the loss to Texas Tech in the Texas Bowl. They have an opportunity to do some damage again, maybe match last year's win total, but whether or not Lane Kiffin can take advantage, the transfer portal king can take advantage of all this offensive success that he has, all this offensive talent that he has, and make them into an elite contender, whether or not he can do that, that will be decided between September 23rd and October 7th, which you hate to say that so early in the season, but those 3 games will show what Ole Miss is truly made of. And again, do not sleep on that Tulane game on September 9th. A possible upset there because Tulane, yeah, they lose a lot, and we'll have their schedule preview coming out here soon, but they're still going to be a force to be reckoned with in a relatively weak American Conference in 2023. So there you have it, guys. There is your Ole Miss schedule preview heading into this upcoming season. Again, we will have predictions out for the Rebels here in a few months. We'll be predicting every single game on the slate, but the question is, can Lane Kiffin's squad become elite? Can they win more than 8 games? Can they take advantage of a tough schedule? Leave your comments below. Let us know your early predictions for Ole Miss and get ready for the upcoming college football season. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and of course, check out everything down in the description below. We have our expert picks over there. We have a lot of exclusive content over there to help you get through this off season. But again, guys, here at the Gridiron Expert, football never dies. It never ends. We produce videos and we talk about it with you 24/7, 365. If you love the game, this is the place for you every single day of the year. So once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.